Good day and welcome to another news bulletin right here from our offices in South Africa. We'll be bringing you some South African news and international news. I'm your host Marietjie Bothman, Dumelang Sanbonani, all the way here in South Africa. In our headlines this morning, the ANC National Working Committee gives go-ahead to suspend Ace Magashule. NICD suspending flights from India won't prevent the spread of variants to SA. And Mexico President vows to fully probe after the 23 die in the metro accident. In our first story today, heading South Africa, ANC National Working Committee gives the go-ahead to suspend Ace Magashule. ANC leaders who are facing charges of corruption and other serious crimes, including Secretary General Ace Magashule, will be suspended with immediate effect. This comes after the party's National Working Committee, NWC, last night instructed the Secretary General to clear office to write letters to all members who are affected by the new step-aside rule. NWC members said because Magashule was affected by this decision, his deputy Jesse Duarte is expected to draft the letters. Those who have been charged with corruption or other serious crimes and who have not stepped aside should be suspended in terms of Rule 25.70 of the ANC Constitution. ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe said regarding the NWC's decision. The NWC instructed that the necessary letters must be written to the affected members implementing this decision and outlining the terms and conditions regulating their participation and conduct during suspension. NICD suspending flights from India won't prevent spread of variants to SA. The health crisis in India is at tipping point with over 20 million confirmed COVID cases. People are seen next to burning piles of victims who lost their lives due to COVID-19 at an open crematorium in Bangalore, India. In Johannesburg, the acting director at the National Institute of Communicable Disease, NICDC, Adrian Purin, on Tuesday said suspending flights from India wouldn't necessarily prevent the variant first detected in the country from spreading to our shores. The health crisis in India is at tipping point. Health facilities are battling with long queues of patients in dire need of hospital beds and medical oxygen. The new B.1.617 variant has been detected in that country, with many European nations taking action to stop it from spreading to their citizens. Purin said there were many considerations experts had to weigh before taking any drastic steps in South Africa. I am sure they will make an announcement soon as to whether a restriction to stop flights from India. It's not going to be a straightforward thing, he said. With a third wave on its way, there are predictions that Gauteng will be hit the hardest. Purin said it was uncertain when this would be. With Gauteng, the question is because of the high level of density, which may possibly contribute to that. The KZN Premier assigns 4 MECs to assist divided Zulu monarchy to prepare for Queen Mantomfuti's funeral. At Nongoma, KwaZulu-Natal, Premier Sihle Zikalala has assigned 4 of his MECs to assist the troubled and divided Zulu monarchy to prepare for the funeral of the late Queen Regent Mantomfuti Dlamini Zulu, who passed away on Thursday last week at the age of 65. The assigning of the MECs follows a decision by President Cyril Ramaphosa to grant the late Queen a state funeral. The assigned MECs are Peggy Nkonyane for Transport and Community Safety, Bongistole Moloi of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sipho Hlomuga of Corporate Governance and Traditional Affairs, and Hlengiwe Mavimbela of Arts, Culture, Sports and Recreation. The MEC has met with the royal family and have been advised on the following. The mortal remains of the Zulu regent, Her Majesty the Queen, will depart from Johannesburg and arrive at KwaNongoma on Wednesday, the 5th of May. The funeral and memorial service will take place on Friday, the 7th of May. Five startling claims and demands Zulu King as wife in court papers as she fights for the throne. KZN Premier says government will support divided Zulu royal family despite inflicting legal battles. In a statement issued on Tuesday, Zikalala said that since the late Queen briefly occupied the throne from March 21 to April 29, an acting basis before her passing, she deserves the burial by the state. We applaud His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa for bestowing Her Majesty with an official funeral, which is befitting recognition of the role played by Her Majesty the Queen. Uplifting and promoting good moral values in society, Her Majesty played a major role in the community. She ran a program for orphan children, assisted the needy children with school uniforms, worked a lot on women empowerment programs in support of His Majesty the King. Her Majesty also played a critical role in advising and supporting the late King Goodwill Zwelithini Zulu in the conflict resolution and promoting peace, Zikalala said. Meanwhile, high-profile mourners continue to visit Gangala Palace in Nongoma to mourn the passing of Dlamini Zulu. One of them was Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, addressing the media after paying his respects. We have obviously seen that there are quite a number of issues that are being discussed in public. Our appeal would be for both the members of the royal family as well as all of those who in leadership to come together to discuss these issues. Also gracing the palace on Tuesday was a delegation from the royal family of Eswatini, which was led by Prince Duza Dlamini, a half-brother of the late Queen Dlamini. Let's take a quick break while we prepare for our international news. Do not go anywhere. This is Marietjie Bothman right here from your South African offices, coming back soon with international news. Welcome back after the break with me, Marietjie Bothman, Ntomzama Zulu, right here from our studios in South Africa. In our international news now, Mexico President Vows, full probe after 23 died in metro accident. Dozens were injured in one of the worst ever accidents to strike the Mexico City metro, raising questions about construction and maintenance standards on a network used by millions every day. An aerial view shows the side of a metro train accident after an overpass for a metro partially collapsed in Mexico City. Mexico's president on Tuesday promised an in-depth investigation to find those responsible for the deaths of at least 23 people in the collapse of an elevated train. The vow came as emergency services in the capital worked to retrieve the bodies of victims which trapped in the wreckage of the carriages that plunged towards the ground on Monday night. Dozens were injured in the accident and one of the worst ever to strike Mexico City. A thorough investigation will be carried out to know the truth, the president addressed. He said his daily news conference, adding that independent international experts would also assist in prosecutors in the probe. We cannot get into speculations, much less blame the possible perpetrators without having proof, he said. The metro line, the city's newest, was built while Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard, a close ally of López Obrador, was mayor of the capital from 2006 to 2012. For my part, I put myself at full disposal of the authorities, said Ebrard, considered amongst the possible ruling party candidates for the 2024 presidential elections. 2014, Ebrard's successor, Mayor Miguel Angelo Montera, suspended services at a dozen stations on the same metro line after wear was detected on the track and train wheels. A study later concluded that there were problems with the design, operation, and maintenance of the tracks. Carriages were seen hanging from the metro overpass in the south of the capital in an entangle of twisted cables. Several miners were among the 23 dead. 4 of the victims were still in the train, she added. Nearly 80 others received hospital treatment following the dramatic accident. Earlier, anxious relatives had gathered at the site, awaiting news of those believed to have been aboard the train. One man said that his brother was among those trapped. He had also said that the man had come with his wife and they managed to get her out, but he was crushed there, and they don't know anything else from there. Dozens of emergency workers were seen trying to rescue victims from the carriages. The work had to be suspended because of the fears of the wreckage was too unstable, but it later resumed with the help of a crane. A car was trapped under the rubble, but a person inside managed to get out alive, Scheinbaum had said. She promised a structural examination of the affected metro line, which will remain closed, and a full investigation into the cause of the accident. Teen bursts into daycare center and stabs 3 children and 2 staff to death. Rio de Janeiro today is in mourning as an 18-year-old attacker armed with a knife burst into a daycare center in Brazil on Tuesday and killed 3 children and 2 staff, local police said, leaving the small southern town in shock. The attacker then turned his large knife on himself, gashing his own neck, abdomen, and torso, said police in Saudades, a town of 10,000 people in Santa Catarina state. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Authorities did not indicate a motive for the gruesome attack and said the assailant had no criminal record. The children's ages were not released, but local media reported that the daycare was for children aged 6 months to 2 years. A 4th child suffered light wounds. Police Chief Geronimo Marcel Ferreira told journalists outside the daycare, where police and emergency workers had cordoned off the area. Governor Daniela Reina declared 3 days of mourning across the state in honor and memory of these people. The last deadly school attack in Brazil was in March 2019, when 2 former students shot 8 people dead, killing themselves at a high school in the southern eastern town of Suzano near São Paulo. In our last story for this morning, legal growing and trading that would provide a source of revenue, as happened in Kenya and Ethiopia. In March 2020, Somalia suspended flights to its capital due to COVID-19 outbreak. However, at least 2 planes supposedly bringing humanitarian aid and medical supplies for the pandemic were intercepted, smuggling tons of cat. These flights avoided the main Mogadishu airport and used smaller airstrips where surveillance is minimal. During this period, all smuggling sea routes from Kenya to Somalia also opened up. Cat was traded alongside other illicit goods such as explosives used by terrorists and legal products such as fish using the Lamu, Kenya and Ras Kambonia, Somalia sea route. An anti-terrorism expert who requested anonymity told Enact organization Crime Research that the people involved in the human trafficking could also be illegally trading cat along this route. Cat, a plant-used stimulant drug, is legal in Kenya, Ethiopia, and Uganda. It is a source of livelihood and has become a major cash crop, earning countries tidy sums of revenue. Under COVID-19 travel restrictions, old smuggling sea routes from Kenya to Somalia opened up. At the end of January, with the increasing smuggling of cat, Somalia again permitted it to be imported from Kenya with new licensing and duties regulation. It is still too soon to tell whether these regulations will have an impact on smuggling trends. Internationally, cat is classified as a new psychoactive substance. These are substances that are not controlled by any of the 3 international drug conventions. As a result, the legal status of these drugs varies and is left to the discretion of the countries. This extends to the regulations of growing, consuming, and trading the substance. Cat has been grown for centuries, mainly in Ethiopia and Kenya, and is widely used and chewed across East and the Horn of Africa region. The World Health Care Organization says its most harmful effects include those of an intestinal and nervous system. WHO further reports that the withdrawal symptoms after prolonged use are mild and habitual users don't show serious problems when stopping consumption. However, studies look at the long-term cognitive effects it has on chronics. The illegal trade on cat is controlled by criminals who are also involved in moving other illicit goods across East Africa and the Horn. Differing legislative responses to cat are driven an illegal smuggling market, harmonizing cat-related laws and control measures across the region could have numerous benefits. However, Tanzania, Eritrea, and Somalia have obscure legislation and controls regarding the stimulant. Somalia's approach in particular is erratic. At times it allows consumption but periodically bans trading due to unclear regulations, ongoing diplomatic tiffs, and more recent COVID-19 pricing and access to the drug. Many Tanzanians consume cat. The country doesn't ban its use, but growing and selling the plant is a crime. A Kenyan wholesale trader told Enact that despite the obscure controls and because it is best consumed fresh, cat was smuggled from Kenya to Tanzania daily, hidden in trucks carrying other agricultural goods. Cat is smuggled through the border crossing of Namanga, Isambania, and Lungalunga. The trader says these borders or areas are less regulated and not all trucks are scanned, especially those carrying agricultural products. Well, that is all we have for you today in the news right here from our offices in South Africa. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, we bring you the latest, the daily news on Non-Full Flex and on RTM. This is Marietjie Bothman, Untomzama Zulu, Zindli Ntomza KZN, and all the way from South Africa saying, stay blessed and have a blessed day. Till tomorrow.